So we're rounding the corner on the second half of 2024, so now we're looking ahead. We're rounding up 25 of the best upcoming games for the remainder of 2024. Now, keep in mind, there are more than 25. We couldn't fit them all here. And also, release dates are subject to change. Video games are always delayed, but we're trying our best here, so let's get started off. We got 25 games, so here's number 25. The Thing Remastered is a game that we're really looking forward to. Remasters, remakes come and go, but not often for something as weird as the Thing game. From the early 2000s, based off of the famous John Carpenter sci-fi horror movie, this game is incredible. The way it managed to take the elements of the film and make it into a game was really compelling. It was tense, it was challenging, it was interesting, and managed to actually serve as a sequel to the original movie without feeling like a piece of crap. So we're excited to see this remastered, cleaned up with some quality of life improvements for a new age. I mean, I feel like at this point there's a whole new generation of fans of the Thing film, so this is just a win-win. As of right now, it doesn't have a release date locked down, but it is expected for 2024. Now, next over at number 24, we have Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This has recently been re-revealed, no longer Dragon Age Dreadwolf, it's Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and it is way more Dragon Age with a lot of crazy visuals, cool, compelling characters, romanceable characters, deep RPG character-based storylines, and, basically what Dragon Age fans are expecting. We gotta look at gameplay here, but still, there's a lot we don't know. But we know that it's BioWare once again, and I'm really hoping that this is the thing that turns things around for BioWare. I mean, their last game was Anthem, the one before that was Mass Effect Andromeda, so it's time for BioWare to kick ass in the RPG department again. I'm really hoping this is the one. As of right now, no release date, but this one has been long in the works, and it is expected to release now in 2024. Next, over at number 23, we have Astrobot. Oh man, if you didn't play the PS5 pack-in game featuring Astrobot, you don't know what you're missing. This is a sequel to that, just a good old-fashioned action platformer. Character-based, accessible, good, goofy, fun time. Like the old video game days, before we all got so serious. That bite-sized adventure that came with the PS5 was absolutely awesome, but this looks to be a full-fledged game. The developers have said it is massively expanded in scope, but it's continuing the vibes of that game. A celebration of the legacy of PlayStation, referencing characters, hardware, stuff like that, but with a lot more environments, things to do, presumably more challenges. This game is probably going to be good for all ages. If the last game is any indication, it has the fun platforming action, but also some challenging levels and stuff you can really get pretty sweaty on, and collectathon stuff. So anyway, as of right now, we are expecting Astrobot to release with no delays September 6th, 2024. Next, over at number 22, we have The Alters. This is a really different game. You essentially play as somebody trapped on a planet in a kind of space station. You can venture out into the planet to do certain things, but the game is centered around creating alternate versions of yourself, kind of doubles of yourself, to eventually kind of figure things out and escape from this planet. It's going to have sprinklings of narrative, storytelling stuff, adventure, base building, and survival gameplay. I'm really just excited to see how it goes from a storytelling standpoint. The character stuff they have here could be really interesting. Just a little bit of a different sci-fi hook. I feel like at this point we've seen almost everything from a sci-fi setting, man trapped on foreign space planet, but they could really do something unique here. So far, early impressions are pretty good. It's not going to be a game for everyone, but for the thinking man, this could be really, really cool. And as of right now, there is a demo available that some people are really enjoying, and the full release is planned for 2024. Next, over at number 21, we have Kingmakers, or what I would like to call Jake's ideal game. This is right up my alley, man. You've probably seen the trailers go viral for this at this point. It's like a big medieval war style game, but instead of dealing with units and tactics, you're just a guy with a gun, and sometimes a truck. It seems like there's going to be a lot more to that, but just the moment-to-moment action here looks like so much fun. Just a video game that doesn't take itself too seriously and embraces fun factor over everything else. Honestly, I think sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered. As of right now, this game is planned for the consoles, but it seems like early access is planned for the PC version for 2024, and we're looking forward to getting our hands on that. Now, next over at number 20, we have Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is from Xbox and Machine Games, the people behind the Wolfenstein games. And I know they're known for their first-person shooting, and this is going to be a first-person Indiana Jones game, which is definitely a unique choice that I think is going to divide the fan base. But I think Machine Games really knows adventure and storytelling, cinematic storytelling, and it seems like they're doing that with Indiana Jones. We've gotten to see full glimpses of cutscenes of this game, and honestly, it looks like a great return to classic indie fashion. It's not Harrison Ford, because honestly, he probably costs $1 trillion to get in the game, so they got Troy Baker, and Troy Baker's doing a really good job replicating Harrison Ford's classic voice. I'm just curious to see how the game is going to play. You know, it seems like a lot of fisticuffs, some whip stuff, some ancient puzzle solving. Makes sense for Indiana Jones, but believe it or not, Indiana Jones, way back when, had a really steady slate of kick-ass games under his belt. So here's hoping the Great Circle can really join that roster. No exact release date yet, but we know it is very much releasing in 2024. Now, next over at number 19, we have Avowed. This is another Xbox joint, and this is from developers Obsidian, the famous developers behind all kinds of stuff. Fallout New Vegas, more recently, The Outer Worlds. If you ask me, I've always said this, Obsidian knows how to make RPGs, specifically from the questing, the writing, the character stuff. That's always really worked. And now they're going out with this, Avowed, with the ability to build your own class, wield all kinds of different weapons, and go on an adventure. I'm still waiting to see more of this one, because the last couple of things I've seen, I don't know. I don't really know what the exact main hook is yet, other than that, hey, it's an Obsidian RPG. Honestly, that's still kind of enough for me to be curious. So, as of right now, this is releasing on Xbox Series X and S and PC, what seems like fall of 2024. Now, next over at number 18, we have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This game has been in the works for many, many years, having some development issues, switching developers. Now it's the Chinese room working on the game. We've gotten some glimpses of gameplay now, finally. It definitely seems like a different game, but it's, you know, a thing, and it seems like it's coming out. It has been slated for 2024. To be honest, I'll believe it when I see it, but either way, I welcome more vampire games in this world. I've always said this. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but we just don't have enough of these types of games. So without any delays or anything like that, hopefully this is the year we finally see it. Next over at number 17, we have Black Myth Wukong. This is the Chinese-developed Souls-like game based on the classical Chinese novel Journey to the West. Now, the main thing here are the graphics. From the beginning, everybody has really been blown away by like the visual style, the character designs, the boss designs, but on the gameplay front, it looks like a crazy, over-the-top, challenging Souls-like game. But it seems like it's going to be relatively simple. Judging from more recent previews, it's going to be fairly linear and mostly centered around fighting bosses, kind of like a boss rush adventure. And we're totally in for that. If they can keep it well-paced and interesting and make it feel like a true, lengthy adventure, plus with the unique spin of it being based on a classical novel, I think there's a lot of potential for this one to kick ass. As of right now, we know it's releasing on the platforms August 20th. Next over at number 16, we have Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. I don't really know quite what to make of this one, but it looks like a cool kind of RPG-style adventure with God of War-style combat. Very much about racking up combos, whipping enemies up into the air, juggling them, using the environment, using various weapons to your advantage in a kind of unique fantasy setting. The world, the character designs look a little different, and I'm curious to see what they've got cooked up with this one. This is releasing for all the major platforms July 18th, 2024. Now, next over at number 15, we have Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Yes, we're getting another re-release of the classic Capcom Dead Rising, the original one that started it all. But this time, it's not just another up-res to 4K or something like that. It's a quote-unquote deluxe remaster. That's what they're calling it. It looks like the visuals are completely overhauled and remade with beautiful environments, better character models. It's got a pretty different look to it, but apparently it's going to play the same. And that's important because with Dead Rising, the gameplay was really everything. It was incredibly unique and still is to this day. It's quite challenging. I actually think some people don't really know what they're in for if they're jumping into this thing for the first time. But either way, I'm excited to go back to that mall September 9th, 2024. Next, over at number 14, we have Concord. This seems to be like Sony's answer to Overwatch, where Overwatch has made a lot of stumbles, or really Activision Blizzard has made a lot of stumbles. Concord is trying to take that thing and run with it. A hero shooter, competitive hero shooter with memorable characters and a unique sci-fi world. They're trying to build their own IP here and go for something. It does feel very similar to, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of other sci-fi video game things we've seen recently, but they're actually going to try and tell a story with this one, with the game, you know, pretty frequently, consistently being updated with story vignettes. So there's more world building, and maybe you care a little bit more about these characters. I don't know, in a competitive shooter, how much do people really want to care about the characters? Who knows? I think it's a case-by-case basis with games. Personally, I'm pretty over these types of games, these live service hero shooters. I think we have enough of them out there. It's competitive enough already. But cynicism aside, I'm looking forward to just at least seeing what they cooked up here. It's releasing on PS5 and PC August 23rd. Next, down at number 13, we have Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. This one's been a long time coming. It's been in the works for many, many years, delayed because of war and other reasons, but also, it's been a long time since a mainline Stalker game. The original games have just recently been ported to the newer consoles and stuff, but this is a classic PC game through and through. And this new one is continuing that. You're surviving in a post-nuclear Fallout wasteland, but it's a little bit different than a Fallout or similar things. It's harsh, it's unforgiving, it's about dealing with scientific anomalies and people, and we're excited to see how this one's going to turn out. Is it going to take it to the next level or feel kind of old school like the original games? We don't know for sure, but this game just looks like a breath of fresh air, especially for some players. Every single bullet counts. You're constantly scrounging for resources in this unforgiving land. You can't trust anybody. You can't really trust anything because there's weird creatures out there. Stalker 2 seems like it's going to keep people busy. And pending any other delays, this is finally releasing on Xbox Series X and S and PC September 5th. Now, next over at number 12, we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I'm personally really looking forward to this one, and I'm not even a Warhammer 40k fan. I just like the Space Marine games. They're really cool, and this one looks like it's stepping it up. Just massive amounts of enemies on screen at once to slaughter, great blood and gore effects, just full big Space Marine power fantasy, cool weapons, but also seemingly tons of cooperative play. They've been showing a lot more gameplay of this one recently, and it is shaping up to be pretty awesome. Of course, we don't know for sure until we actually get our hands on the game, but we're really hoping that they stick the landing with this one, because the potential is there. As of right now, it is releasing on all the platforms September 9th. Next over at number 11, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Yep, you guessed it, they're making another one. But what I'm happy to see is that they're sticking with a campaign. It looks like Black Ops 6 is going to have a full-fledged and kind of zany campaign. The Black Ops campaigns, since the original, are a bit more out there, a bit more experimental. They try something with their storytelling other than just military action movie. So I'm excited to see what they got going with this one. Other than that, there are gameplay enhancements to the movement, and that's going to translate over to multiplayer as well. How much is that going to shake things up? I don't know for sure. I'm not a Call of Duty expert, but there's potential for this one. The Black Ops games are, of course, always a big deal. Even if you're not a hardcore Call of Duty player, there is just a massive casual fan base out there, and I'm curious to see how they react to this one. We'll know for sure when it releases on every single platform, October 24th. Next, over at number 10, we have Sonic X Shadow Generations. This is kind of like a remastering, re-release of the incredible Sonic Generations. I really like this one, but now it's got gorgeous new, higher resolution graphics and also the ability to play as Shadow the Hedgehog. You're going to be able to jump into different levels, specifically new levels designed from the ground up for Shadow and his own unique gameplay options, and I think that's something that a lot of Sonic fans have been waiting for a long time. It's about damn time Shadow comes back to the mainstream. He's cool. I don't know. We like him. But anyway, Sonic and Shadow Generations is releasing on all the platforms October 25th. Now, next over at number 9, we have Frostpunk 2, the follow-up to one of my favorite strategy games ever. The original Frostpunk is brutal. You're tasked with managing a city, but it's the end of the world. The world has frozen over, so you're worried about building, keeping people alive, but also keeping them warm. And it seems like with Frostpunk 2, it's going even further with resource management, like with oil and stuff, but again, making brutal decisions. The Frostpunk games are incredible for how challenging it makes every single decision. It's not like some games where you just click, oh, do I raise taxes? Do I do this? Do I increase production? Blah, 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 blah. Every single decision you make here is pissing somebody off to an extreme degree, and it is incredibly stressful. But it makes for some really, really interesting and compelling video game decision making, unlike anything else I've experienced in any other game. So anyway, I've hyped this one up enough. I hope it's as good as the first one. I hope it surpasses it. We don't know yet, but it's releasing on PC September 20th. Next, over at number 8, we have Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Now, this one is interesting because, number one, it's really ambitious. It's 13 years since the release of Test Drive Unlimited 2. So people are really, really looking forward to this one. But also, from the developers' words, they're looking to reinvent the open world, massively multiplayer racing game genre. That's big words. It's big ambitions. We'll see if they do it. But from what we can see so far, I mean, at least it looks gorgeous. It's got a lot of real world cars, incredible meticulous detail to all of it. But also, it's got this big open world experience. It's the full Hong Kong island. They fully recreated it, and you get to adventure and drive around. And I think that looks pretty awesome because there's all types of variety. You got off-road, you got city, you got highways, you got everything you could want from this type of racing game. This one has been in the works for a long time, and like I said, it's been so long since a Test Drive Unlimited game. This is a big deal, I think more than some people realize. Thankfully, it is finally releasing on all the major platforms September 12th, 2024. Next, over at number 7, we have Life is Strange Double Exposure. Life is Strange is back, and an original character from the first game is back, Maxine Caulfield, which is good because that's the only one I played. But it's a different developer this time around, and this time Max is older, and she's in a new situation where it looks like they kind of took her and plopped her into a murder mystery. But with this murder mystery, she has a new ability to essentially shift between two timelines back and forth. So that's how she's going to solve this murder. I'm really curious to see how this one's going to go, how it's going to push the series further, because I feel like it got stagnant for a second. Is bringing back the original character the right move? I don't know for sure, but we'll see how it goes. It's releasing October 29th, 2024 for all the major platforms. Now, next, down at number 6, we have the Silent Hill 2 remake. This remake is from Konami. They're getting back into games, it seems, but also developer Bloober Team, the people most recently behind The Medium, but also behind Layers of Fear, Observer, the Blair Witch Project game, and a few others. So that developer is divisive. They have some fans. You know, people are still wondering if they're the ones really to take on remaking Silent Hill 2, because it feels like a massive challenge. Can you even recreate the magic of the original? We don't know for sure, but different developers did it with Resident Evil, so maybe they can give it a shot here. Obviously here, some gorgeous visuals, some kind of revamped combat. I'm still curious to see how it's all really going to go down, but I'm just hoping they tell that original, nuanced, beautiful story with all the cool music, the cool tone and atmosphere, all that. I really hope that's retained here. Looking forward to seeing how this one goes down. It's releasing on PC and PS5 October 8th. Now, next over at number 5, we have Mario & Luigi Brothership. This is releasing for Nintendo Switch and looks absolutely awesome. This is a new game in the Mario and Luigi series. It's a little bit different than your mainline Super Mario games. These are a little bit quirkier, and they get creative in some wild ways, and you can tell from the debut trailer from the Nintendo Direct. Some of the moves, some of the cool stuff they're doing on screen here, just, it looks like a ton of fun. This time the brothers are going to a new island that's like part ship, part island, and engaging in a new adventure. This looks perfect for the Nintendo Switch, especially towards the tail end of the console's life. I know everybody's talking about Nintendo Switch 2, but this looks like a good thing to play on regular old-fashioned Switch, and I think people are going to dig it. We'll find out for sure when it releases November 7th. Now coming down at number 4, we have Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is the one that people have been asking for many, many years, an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan. Although, now, looking at this game, I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm also a notoriously picky Assassin's Creed fan, and I know every gamer out there already has strong opinions about this game, one way or another, for various different things. For me, I'm just not sure what to make of playing as two different characters, where one is like an all-out brawler, heavy attack attacker in an Assassin's Creed game centered usually more around stealth, and then the actual stealth character seems kind of generic. That being said, we have seen some cool level design and some cool stealth scenarios. Just the level of quality, though, it's hard not to compare to other games set in these settings. Either way, though, just looking at it from a top-down view, the potential is great. This setting is an incredible one, so the types of weapons you use, the regions you see, the way you kill people, it could be really cool. But frankly, we're not sure yet. We're going to judge it, like I always say, when we get our hands on it. We'll do it before you buy, all that stuff. I just like the Assassin's Creed series and I want to see it continue. But frankly, who knows? Not quite sure yet. But like I always say, we'll judge it when we get our hands on it. Of course, we'll do a before you buy video on it, but when it releases on all the major consoles and platforms, November 15th. Now, down at number 3, we have Slitterhead. This one's really weird. I definitely think it's going to be an acquired taste, but I think for horror fans, it's significant because it's from Keiichiro Toyama, the creator of Silent Hill. He's going for something very different here with a new studio, and it almost kind of looks like Prototype, but Japanese. Got some interesting quirks to it, a weird flavor, some incredible monster designs, and this kind of whole body swapping thing. You're never really playing as the same person twice. It looks like you're playing as random civilians in a city just trying to fight these monsters, and it just seems unique. We gotta give it that. To be frank, we still don't know too much about it either. It was revealed a few years back, and we finally got a real glimpse of it at Summer Game Fest this year, but I'm expecting us to learn a lot more about it closer to its release date. It's releasing on PC and all the major platforms November 8th. And coming down to number 2, switching gears a little bit with The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. This is releasing for Nintendo Switch, and it looks like a little bit of a different flavor of Zelda game. Something we haven't had before. It's because you're playing as Princess Zelda herself. It's very much got the art style, the gameplay style of The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening remake from a few years back, which was absolutely gorgeous. It went for more of a kiddie style, but it worked. And here, you're playing as Zelda, out to save the world, I guess save Link, but with some pretty creative gameplay concepts, almost a little bit more of like a Zelda combat puzzler, where, you know, you'd think they'd just give Princess Zelda like a little sword or like a little magic wand. Here she actually has a magic ability to absorb and recreate anything in the environments. Enemies, to pit enemies at one another, crates, devices, just ways to get around. It looks like you're constantly thinking about what to use from the game world in order to progress. It's got a little bit of a player freedom, creativity aspect to it, kind of like Tears of the Kingdom, but it's cool they're continuing that in like a 2D sense. I'm really curious to see how this one actually pans out, like if it's really worth it. We'll know for sure when it releases September 26th. And now finally down at number 1, we have Star Wars Outlaws. This is the next big Star Wars game, this time from Ubisoft. They're making an open world Han Solo game. So you're not really getting into Jedi shenanigans or doing stuff that interacts with the main storylines, you're just out in the gritty underworld of Star Wars, getting into all kinds of hijinks and adventures. And this game is significant because it's kind of like an open world Star Wars game. You're visiting a couple of planets that are just big open environments. You're free to explore, interact with NPCs, towns, hop on a speeder bike, or just get back in your ship, fly up into space, get in some space battles. There's a lot going on here, and I've gotten my hands on the game at some early access events, seeing a work in progress of it, and it did seem promising. I was a little skeptical because it's Ubisoft, but it's from Massive, the people behind The Division, and I like the way they built those games. There's still a lot of questions out there. Star Wars is tricky. Everybody's very picky with Star Wars, but also, how is the main loop going to go? Is this game going to get repetitive? Is it going to feel like more Ubisoft stuff? Or is it going to be a cut above? Then, of course, Ubisoft is also famous for pulling a bunch of like weird pre-order crap that a lot of players just don't want. I think, despite all that, this is shaping up to be a promising game. I really hope they knock it out of the park with this one, and I just say that as a Star Wars fan who really likes Star Wars video games. We've been eating good, and I really hope that they nail this one. We'll know for sure when we get our hands on this thing on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, August 30th. But there you have it, folks. Those are 25 new games coming for the second half of 2024. There's a lot of games to talk about, so let us know in the comments what you think, what you're looking forward to. Yes, please let us know because it helps us gauge interest for videos for the coming months. But if you like this video and you like talking games with us every single day, clicking the like button's all you gotta do. It really helps us out. And if you're new, maybe consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell as well, because we put out videos every single day. But either way, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.